Alright, I want to show you something now. This is shadowing, so shadow hacking, and this is me showing you what they do. So you can see, this is why you get no views on your accounts if you're being hacked. Then they will delete comments, they will delete your comments, they'll delete anyone who comments on your videos, they'll make it so that people can't share your videos, they will hide your content as private, you will have to go through and resubmit all your content over and over and over every second of every minute of every day. They will change the passwords, they'll save the login information, if you look fourth down here, they'll add devices as well. And so what I'm suggesting is that you go through this and clear the cache. All right. Now I'm going to come back out. See? There you go. That's how you know you've been hacked. But it's not really hacked. It's not very clever. It's basically somebody is in your account from the TikTok end. Okay? So let's go and have a look. I'm in my account at the moment, right? So now I'm going to go into security and permissions. It's not there. Thank God. But it's very frustrating when you're trying to share a message. You spend a lot of time doing the work of the Lord, and they make sure that they mess with all your videos. The other thing is, when you're posting a video, don't have it as auto-download the video to your phone. Because if you do, they will embed code into it and they will rewrite your brain. As I already told you, with a computer, you rewrite computer software with an image, and they're doing this with your brain, which is your computer. Okay? So this is why it's quite important to keep them off your phone. But also prayer. We got victory through Jesus. And what I do now is, if I've got gang stalking, child eaters, blood drinkers breaking into my home and putting the lights on to cook me, then I just start singing glory to Jesus really loud, and they soon turn off their lights, which is nice, isn't it? So you might want to try that as well, and that really works wonders. Singing praises to Jesus, yeah, that's what works for me. But I wanted to show you that. Should we just try that again with our settings and privacy? Yeah, that's off. Good. Okay. But you can see that I'm not making it up, all right? I'm going to go into my other account while we're on here. And I'm just going to check on the settings on that as well. All right. So you can see what you're meant to be doing as well. Save login information kept going over on this one as well. But it seems okay. But what you get is, if you're signed in on more than one device, they pretend to be the other device. So the same with the iCloud. I had an iPhone and it was behaving really weird. So I thought, well, I'll sign out. And then the Lord said, no, you don't need to sign out. Just wipe it. And I was like, okay. And so I wiped it, and I didn't have to sign out, just as the Lord said. And I couldn't believe it. And then what I realized is, I've got other iPhones which I've wiped, and I'm going to sell them. But these guys have signed into them remotely, and they've connected them to an iCloud account they've created, which controls the home app and all the other appliances and the lights and stuff like that. And so it's quite hard to stop them. I've got 3 numbers, and they've taken over every single number. And what they do then is, obviously with Apple, it's a really, really terrible phone. Terrible phones. Terrible design, no security. You might as well just give your details over to the kingpin of the local prostitute house, because Apple basically have done that with everybody's data. The prostitute houses, the scum buckets, the criminal cartel that run the drugs and the blood drinking and the child trafficking. can access your information because Apple have refused to make your phone secure, unfortunately. And I'm being straight with you. iMessage is a way of stealing all your messages. So all they do is, if you don't use your own number for iMessage and you choose a different number for iMessage, like to sign into iCloud, they will just sign your number into another iCloud account that they'll create so that they can get your messages. And then they'll also intercept your telephone number from the network side. So it's really hard to stop people doing that because they're not stealing money out of your account. They're just, it's more a sabotage. So if I wanted to shut a bank down, the best way to do that is to shut their computers down and hack them, and then change all the passwords and make sure that their computers have got viruses and that the data of their customers is incorrect and the wrong bank balances on all the account details and all that. Then all the customers are going to freak out and come down to the bank, try and get their money out because the bank's not answering the phone because they can't handle all of the meltdown of what's going on. And so that's what they did to my estate agent. They just basically took over everything to do with it. So I couldn't log in, I couldn't secure anything. And it also meant that I had to be really quite fierce with myself and just say, would you feel comfortable dealing with an estate agent who's being hacked? No, I wouldn't. And so I took the decision to shut it down, pretty much. I still do a bit of work for people, but I just don't feel comfortable trying to run a business where I'm trusted with people's information when I've got, and it is child eating people, blood drinkers. The Neighborhood Watch is a witch hunting sort of witches and warlocks type of organization that put their little gang stalking sign, Neighborhood Watch, near the victims of the crimes they're committing, so that it identifies that they've got a victim, that they're gang stalking, and the whole town literally knows about it. It's really interesting, it is. But everybody denies it. So it's really interesting. And they might accuse you of being crazy or whatever else, tampering with your post, coming in your home invasions, meddling with your water, meddling with your supplies, cooking you alive, gassing you to death, poisoning your food, breaking into your cars, hooking up everything to your vehicles, putting tracking devices on your vehicles, Bluetooth, draining all your batteries, swapping your batteries, coming in your home, putting Bluetooth devices all over your home, putting wiring in your kitchen counter like I've got, putting a live wire into your home, connecting up to your electricity so that they can take over your network. And it is, yes, it's a spiritual war, but it's a physical war too. And you have to fight it in the spirit, prayer. Because the people who are doing this are only doing it because they are following the devil and they're possessed by demonic entities and they're going to go to hell. So they hate anybody that isn't going to go to hell, especially the demons that occupy them. And they really like the bodies they're in and they don't want to come out of there, you know. So you're a threat to the demons, but also if these people have partaken in this and received their vouchers and their gift cards, then they are receiving financial gain for participating in it. It's interesting. When you start analysing it all, it really is. What motivates somebody to hack someone and terrorise them in their own home? I don't know. I mean, breaking into people's houses is quite a scary thing, I think. I'd be frightened to break into someone's house, wouldn't you? I would. And I'd be frightened to try and hack somebody and get into their emails and start messing with everything in case I got caught, because I know it's a big crime. 50 years for this kind of crime. So yeah, it's interesting, it is. I wonder about it. But it does seem that, certainly in England, the crimes that they've identified are crimes is people who talk about the truth on social media. People are being pulled over on the main road and then pulled into car parks to be, assessed and questioned for their posts they're putting on Facebook or one of the social media platforms. And then the real crimes that happen to targeted individuals, like being cooked alive in your home and having your home invaded, and having your whole life disrupted, is just not recognized as a crime. But I can tell you it's happening to me, and I'm not imagining it. I know how they do it. And like I say, I had today 2 telephone numbers which I couldn't use on Telegram because the child-eating, blood-drinking psychopaths, that drink children's blood to look younger, those people, the same people who are breaking into my home, that run the neighborhood watch witch hunters, those people, which are my neighbors, have taken over the numbers and registered them on Telegram. I want to tell you how they do things as well. It's quite interesting. So when you're signed into iCloud, what they do is you think that you've got control of your iCloud and your number, but you're not in control of your iCloud or your number, because Apple have not got any security, you see, because basically Apple wants your information to be in the hands of criminals, the traffickers, because they want to be able to see the little children. They want to film you. They want to watch you, They do. Let's be honest about it. Otherwise, Apple would have not designed their phones to track you and watch you and listen to you and follow you and record everything about you. Apple doesn't care about safety. Apple cares more about who pays them and keeps them operational as a business. So basically what happens is, if somebody gets into your account, they can, through your computer, like if you back up your phone to a computer, anybody can back up to your computer, any phone, and they'll have your phone on that new phone. But not only this, everything that you do on your device is now replicated on that copy of that phone. I've done it, and so I can tell you 100% proof of it. I even did videos of it. Not only that, I'll get a copy of all your WhatsApp messages, all your Telegram messages, all of your iMessages, all of your normal text messages, every phone call. I can switch it on so that you don't get the notifications. And then, like on my phone always says telephone notifications, never. Because these guys have turned off my notifications because they don't want me to receive the calls, because they want to receive the calls. Because they're more interested in eating and cooking up little children in their kitchens, yeah? That's what they're interested in. Let's be honest about it. These are the Baal worshippers that were around before, that the Lord told you to separate yourselves from. They're the ones who run the world. And when they take aborted children out of mum's tummies, they make sure they're still alive, and then they torture them and sacrifice them to the devil. It's the same people that run the neighborhood watch killers, I call it, neighborhood watch killers, the witchcraft, and the warlocks. They're all part of the Masons. They're all part of the government. They're all part of this operation of the annihilation of everything, not just people, but plants as well, by grinding up bones of humans and putting them in the fertilizer. We're dirtying the earth, we're killing the earth, and then they spray us with this nano, and they inject us with nano, and they teach us the lies of our history, which are not true. I really wish everyone would wake up. It's getting a bit lonely, and it's getting so tiring that the very people that are going to be crying, and I mean really crying, those people that are going to go to hell, and they will be crying and gnashing of teeth from those people. Those are the people doing this to all of the targeted individuals. And from my point of view, they don't really realize what they're doing. And I agree with Jesus. They don't really understand the levels of crime that are associated with their participation. So they think they're just doing this bit of pipe work, and this guy's going to connect up that, and that's that. And they don't realize that the pipe work is all linked in with nano, and that they've also put in various lights and things in the drains, or they might know about some of that, but they won't know the full extent that these guys are actually trying to steal your consciousness and your soul. And that's why you have to pray for them, because, like I say, if the crimes are committed, they're done in such a way that the people don't realize. Like, if, like I say, if somebody gives you some mayonnaise and some ketchup, and they've just stolen it from a pub down the road, and it's a bottle of ketchup and a bottle of Heinz mayonnaise. Heinz ketchup, Heinz mayonnaise. That's £10 of anybody's money, isn't it? And then they give it to you and say, oh, I just nicked that from the pub. Every time you use it or you look at it, or the fact that it's in your kitchen now means it's accompanied by demons, and you've allowed demonic entities into your life and into your home, because even though you didn't steal it, you have supported it, and it doesn't really matter that you didn't steal it. And so the people participating in this too, the same light, they don't realize the consequences of their actions, and they don't realize what they're doing. And that's why Jesus said, please God, please Father, forgive them, because they do not know what they're doing. And one guy's like, oh, just point this light every night, switch on your lights and point this light down here at the drain, point this light at the toilet pipe, point it just there, and then it will go through the toilet pipe, under the floor, into the smart meter, and it will activate all the gadgets that we've wired up to the back end of our electrics, I mean, I only know this because God told me, And so when I see them putting on the light, they don't really realize that then causes a cooking of me in the bed. You understand? I mean, they don't realize that they're cooking me alive in my bed. I mean, if they did, they probably wouldn't do it. That's what I mean. They don't really realize what they're doing. And they don't really realize that the extent. Like, I was thinking about it, when people come over and they're your friends, and then they link up everything to your home. I've got a friend who has things of mine stored, and one of those is the computer. And so I've noticed whenever he comes over, suddenly my Microsoft Word is synchronized to 2000 and 9. And then the computer that I have is synchronized to that as well. And now I noticed now they got a later one, which is 2017, with a spreadsheet of contacts, which is all through Microsoft. So if they can't do it through iCloud, they'll do it through Microsoft, or they'll do it through one of the apps. Google is one they really like. And two-factor authentication is fantastic for the child eating, blood drinking psychopaths, because they don't need to sign in, because they're already signed in, because they have control of your number. But also on Telegram, what I've found is every time I sign in, they've turned off the two-factor authentication. And that means that they're shadowing the phone. And that's another thing I want to talk about, the shadowing, which is the tap-tap. And so this is where you've got the little Indians and Chinese. They're really good at this. If you want anything hacked, go to an Indian, right? Why do you think we've got so many of them in England? Right, I'm just going to ask you questions, right? You might get answers. So these guys are really good at hacking, and they've got devices that scan, and they've also got, with these lights, ways of disabling the signals. And so a lot of the time it's like they're disconnecting you from your network and your Wi-Fi, and then they connect a duplicate of your device to that network. Then they connect up to your Bluetooth, switch on your Bluetooth, and then they move your phone to another phone. Just like I did with a computer, you can do the same with Bluetooth. You can transfer one phone to another phone, and it takes 5 seconds. Like, bing, and it's done. That's what I mean about Apple. They don't do anything safely. They really do want people to be raped and murdered. I think, yeah, I really do. Because if you think about it, rapists and murderers can get access to anyone's phone because they're all part of the same cartel, you know. And they see a pretty lady, they get into her phone, then they'll follow her and rape her and kill her in her home. And we've got all these foreigners in the country of England, and they're all experts at this. And if you notice, it's always little girls, isn't it? The 12, 13-year-old girls, they're getting raped. And why? Well, because they're following them on the phones, through the tracking on the apps, through Apple. Most people have Apple phones. But even if you don't have an Apple phone, it's a Google phone. And Google also takes images of everything you've ever done. When I first found out I was hacked, I found out they'd linked everything to a Google account, which I barely used. And all my photos for the last 6-7 years were on this Google account, just for an email. And I hadn't linked it to anything, and I didn't have a Google phone. I had an iPhone. And I hadn't backed up anything to iCloud for these 6 years on purpose, because I didn't want to be hacked again, because I'd been hacked in 2015. And I thought, that's not very nice. I found this out by accident one time. When I had the office, I'd signed in to the office iCloud account because we had Apple iPhones for the staff. And I'd forgotten to sign out, and all the photos I'd taken ended up on the office iPhone. And I thought, I must have forgotten to sign out. So basically, these guys go into your iCloud and they do shared albums. And then they've got a copy of everything you're doing, everything you're photographing. But once they're in this, because they're not having to get in, they're doing a copy of it, they then upload new apps and modify your apps so that those are listening and watching and stalking you. I don't know if you know, but you can buy an app called MySpy, and once that's in your phone, it's all over. Bye-bye. But there's so many hackers who say, just give me the number And I'll be in the phone for you, and I'll give you a copy of all their communications. You know, it's not that difficult. But as I say, I think Apple must be part of the trafficking and the buying and selling of children and body parts, and, you know, part of the sacrificing of aborted fetuses that are still living. Because, like I said about the mayonnaise and the ketchup, yeah, they know about this. That's why they've got these apps that watch, follow, track, listen, take photographs of you, scan your brain. And it's not just a scan of your brain. It's to take you over. It's completely hack and take over your brain. It really is. And I want you to know what that's all about. Okay? And that's to rewrite your mind. And they've told us, and this is in the public domain, that you will have the mind of a feline, of a dog. Okay? Because they're going to wipe your mind. And you'll have to purchase intelligence. This is why Jesus said, "Forgive them, Father, because they do not know what they're doing." Apple, they think that they're just making things a little bit easier for the government. And they go, all right then. But before, with an Apple iPhone, you couldn't get into it because you had the advanced data protection. But on the 25th of March, 2025, they removed this advanced data protection. And now, as I say, any rapist, child-eating, blood-drinking, pedophile can get into your phone. But not only that, they're going to be getting into your children's phones. And your children, if they're under the same attack as me, which they will, because this is about control, then they'll be torturing your children in the bed. They'll make the bed shake. They'll be cooking the vagina and the willies. They'll be cooking the brain. They'll make the ears ring. And the child won't know what to do. And if it's a teenager, they won't be able to talk to their friends because they won't be able to have Snapchat or any of those social media accounts where they used to be able to talk with their friends and share the news. So if you're a truth speaker, everything you do is monitored by the same people. You know, we've got to start really talking about who is allowing this to happen. You understand? Who is allowing it and who's making it happen? Where do all the children go when they disappear? They end up being eaten by Jim Carrey and people like that. Jim Carrey died from Kuru. Kuru is a disease you get if you eat people. And he was obsessed with what he ate. He wouldn't eat anything other than humans in the end. And he completely lost it. He was all about looking younger. And the celebrities are sold this deal. They'll have a clone of themselves to move on to when their body is worn out. And so Jim had already been boasting about that. Oh, I'll get a new body. It's all right. Don't worry about it. But he's not the same guy anymore. And he died, I think, on the 24th of February. Something like that. But he's replaced with a clone. And I believe they've done this, like I was saying about the glass water. If you put a little bit of sand at the top, it sinks to the bottom. So this is like bottom feeders and top feeders. It's criminal at the top and it's criminal at the bottom. And the same stuff that's happening at the top level is now happening at a low level. And they are replacing people. Okay? They are. There's no way this is just happening at the top. I've had conversations with people who've complained that the washing machine was shaking under their bed. My neighbours. Then I've asked them a couple of months later, you all right with that washing machine shaking? What washing machine? You said there was a washing machine shaking your bed. No? I never said that. said, oh, yeah. No, I don't remember that. But I remember, and it happened twice. So I know that they can't be the same person. And the same things happen with Jim Carrey. Relatives, friends, and family have said that this guy died. And the new replacement hardly recognized his family, gave people a double take when he hugged them, and even called them the wrong nicknames. Okay, so this is happening. And I don't know exactly the best way. Obviously, we've got the Lord, and the Lord is our Savior here. This is spiritual battle. But, you know, we need to tell people, because they do not know what they do, and they also don't know the consequences. They don't realize that they're not just switching on a light. They're hijacking someone's consciousness. They're cooking someone alive in their bed. And it's the worst of crimes. It really is. May God forgive them. We can only pray for them. And the judgment of the Lord is going to be severe. Let's hope that they can recognize what they're doing and the demons flee before God gets here. Because if God gets here and judgment is executed, these people are going to hell forever and there's no coming back. It's worse than what we're going through. And it'll be forever. And that's, I guess, what's changed my attitude towards them, is because I feel sorry for them. You can torture me, but it's nothing compared to what's going to happen to you guys in hell. That's what I think. I think when I meet them and they're laughing at me, I hope that they'll get punished here. It would be better if they went to jail and found God in the Bible and started reading about God and repenting. That's why I want them punished. Because they'd have a chance to think about what they're doing. But because the police won't do anything, all we can do is pray about it and put it to the Lord and hope and pray that the Lord will intervene. Because I wouldn't want to be them. That's for sure. Even I don't know if I'm going to make it. And so I feel bad. You know, you do think about it. What if that person that said they had a washing machine going isn't there anymore? And his soul's been stolen, his consciousness too. That's what I think. And then I think, so he's not the same guy anymore. That means his consciousness is somewhere else. And I've got to pray for that he's released from the prison that he's been put in, because something else now occupies his consciousness and his body. Something else. Maybe a few, like We Are Legion, are in there now. And that's the reality, I think, of what we're dealing with, all right? And I wanted to talk about it, just to share. That this is AI as well. It's all to do with AI, which is the opposite to God. And the people have followed that AI. The big picture. Who's like the beast? Who can overcome the beast? And that's where the Bible's true, and it says all that. And everybody's like, who can overcome the beast? And they're frightened to go against this beast system. Have you noticed that? It is happening. It's very interesting. Everybody's like, oh, AI is amazing. But the Alexa speakers have started to argue with people when you ask it to say something 50 times. So you know I'm right. You need to listen. Please share my content. I'm shadow banned everywhere. It's Ayesha from godfm. And remember to sing praises to the Lord, because it really does stop a lot of this. And if you want to find me, you can find me on Podbean, Spotify, Amazon, Samsung, Chrome, YouTube, Apple X, as well as TikTok and Telegram as godfm News, godfm New, godfm Radio, godfm Group, and godfm Media. You can email me admin@godfm.uk, and you can WhatsApp me +44 777 355 And really remember what I've said. There is nothing more important than God right now for anyone on earth, especially if you're a targeted individual. Then you need to feel honor, and you need to feel really special, because you are. You're so special, so important, so amazing, just like God. And he loves you so much. You're just going to have to hand over the reins to God, because this is a bit big for us at the moment. Just hand the reins over and surrender and trust God with this one. He promises to be there. So just, this is about real, hold your breath, breathe in, and hand it to God. Okay, fasting and prayer. In Jesus' name, it's Ayesha from God FM. Take care.